I'm very excited that we get to bring over these guests. We've got our producer, Royce Rubin, in the studio, and I don't even know how Royce decided that we should reach out to Zach Millett and Ali Biocco, but somehow she said, I reached out to them for ESPN Sunday Fun Day Football, and they agreed to an interview. So, Royce, what even made you do this? Easy enough, Freddie said. Gosh, the power of Freddie said. How you like that? Making my eye twitch.
I swear to God, we're taking patches off of you. It's just craziness.
So
we'll
Freddie
explain what
said-
all that means later.
You want to do the introductions?
Toy Story football contributors Zach Millett and Ali Biocco.
Ali Biocco and Zach, don't forget, it's Millett joining us all the way from beautiful Connecticut and New York. Welcome, you two.
Thanks for having us, Royce. Thanks for having us, Dawn and Freddie.
It is such a pleasure. I have to ask you guys, how did you even think about this concept of not only expanding your viewership, right? Forget women and just commercials, but now you've got the kids involved, and moms now have to explain it to their kids, and the whole Toy Story theme. How did you come up with this whole idea?
Yeah, well,
ahead,
I
Ellie.
think just Zach and I both being on the innovation team, we're constantly looking for new and exciting technology to experiment with and to bring to ESPN. And so about roughly 2 years ago, and all credit to Zach, he was introduced to Beyond Sports, who is the company behind this volumetric broadcast technology. And we immediately just recognized the exciting potential to harness this technology for innovative projects. So after a lot of discussions with Beyond Sports and internal teams throughout ESPN and Disney, we began doing some closed circuit tests during NHL games. So hockey was actually the first sport we experimented with. And these tests they met all of our goals of, reduced latency, ensuring that production setup is turnkey and, easy for our side to use and implement. So because of how well all these tests went, we decided we were ready for a live execution. So our first one was the NHL Big City Greens Classic, which happened in March. And this was during the Rangers versus Capitals game. And so the football concept with Toy Story Fun Day Football, which is what we're here to talk about today, was really just building off of that initial execution because it was so successful. We had such great coverage in the media and such good sentiment, public sentiment reaction. So we were really excited to just continue scaling this, continue growing it, and then obviously being able to partner with the NFL for something like this is super special.
But Zach, how do you even execute an idea? Because we all know ideas are ideas, right, until they get executed. This is huge. This wasn't even on tape delay. This was live.
It's a great question, Dawn. So it definitely takes a full village to innovate. It takes a full village to produce these broadcasts. And we had to use all of our creative studio, production, NFL, Pixar. A number of parties had to buy in to execute this. And trust me, there was plenty of planning. Ali mentions 2 years. There was months and months of tests and dress rehearsals and different tweaks that we went through with the production team. So we had to continuously refine and make sure that this was the best and most compelling product that we could put out there by the time we got to October 1st.
And what was your goal? I know it's fun, but for ESPN, Disney, Pixar, to pick football, even to pick hockey, why animation? Why are you looking at that? What are you looking to do?
Yeah, it's a great question, Don. So we're primarily we came across this idea for fan-facing innovation at ESPN. We serve the fan anytime, anywhere, and we thought it was important to serve the fan with cutting-edge technology and the volumetric technology and motion capture technology that we now have deployed across a couple programs is something we wanted to bring to fans. Secondly, and probably the most salient point, is we wanted to engage with new audiences and create excitement around an event that is important to us. The NFL is one of our most prized rights holders, and we had a game early Sunday, October 1st, that's outside of the traditional Monday Night Football games. And we wanted to make sure that people were aware of this game and they got up early to watch this game. And I heard a little bit of your lead in. It was also to make sure somebody like Freddie wanted to watch the game from the beginning until the very end and he wouldn't tune out.
I got to tell you, because women watched it, kids watched it, everybody was curious to watch this thing. What I'm amazed at is how close to real time you guys got it. Oh my goodness gracious! Now I've been doing. I don't do animation. They do animation, and I've asked them this question. But I've been doing radio television now for 18 years. When I first came out, nobody ever heard of radio television. Nobody. Everybody says radio is radio and TV is TV. So we're the only radio that you can actually see. Because back in the day, I went to the NFL. I went to Major League Baseball. And they said no because nobody watched sports on your phone. And they asked me to leave the office. And look at the technology has come such a long way. I am fascinated by the fact that you did it real time. You did it without a glitch. Because in these productions, what people don't understand is that sometimes things go wrong. You know, sometimes you have a hiccup here or there. But my goodness gracious, it was unbelievable. Because when I saw it, I was amazed.
How did they do it? Did your players were there cameras all around the stadium? I mean, I know you can't tell us how you did it, but were the players wearing equipment? Was it surrounded the stadium? How did you get all the movements?
Yeah, great question. So and I can explain it in layman's terms because that's all I really understand. There's more sophisticated people who understand this better. But we utilize the code from NFL, next-gen stats, and codes that are generated from the players that are wearing sensors. To your point, Don, they're wearing sensors across the pads and across their bodies. Those sensors create code, and that code can be through a vendor, our great vendor Beyond Sports within the Sony Sports family, takes that code to output it into volumetric technology. So in the studio, we can actually see the incoming code in 1000s, ones, and then we're actually able to watch our vendor work to turn that code into volumetric renderings that are supposed to reenact what's happening on the field. So it's a lot of testing. It continues to be refined. To your point, Freddie, it's going to get better and better, and that's the most exciting part of what's going to happen in the future with these sort of technologies.
Allie, why Toy Story?
Well, I think to your guys' point at the beginning of the call, I think Toy Story it's a generational movie. Everyone, all ages, male, female, everyone loves it. And so I think we got a lot of really great attention after what we did with Big City Greens, which for those who don't know, that's one of Disney's most popular animated series. So we got a lot of attention when we approached Pixar about potentially using one of their IPs for this game. They suggested the idea of Toy Story, and we saw like this amazing opportunity to combine the NFL and Toy Story, two obviously huge brands, and to be able to do this game and execute it's really special because you're just combining two amazing brands, and then you're also just reaching such like a large range of audiences because obviously kids love Toy Story and the animation, but like we said, so do adults. So it was the perfect match.
Did you have a whole team just coming up with the ideas for the content? It was just, besides the animation, right, and the players moving, the way you had it in Andy's room and everything was on the grassy field and the toys and how everything happened, you have a whole nother team doing that?
We do. We have a incredible team on the ESPN side that's ESPN Creative Studios, headed up by Tina Thornton. Directly on this project, we had Spike and Sparky, VP and Senior Director of Creative Studio, just thinking about where this game should take place, what sort of integration should take place. Should Slinky Dog be the first down line? Should the Claw, perfectly. Should the Claw move the ball? Should we have other integrations from Toy Story characters? And they helped build a lot of the graphics and a lot of the things you see on this screen right here, with Pixar working hand in hand with them to make sure that the graphics looked had integrity based on what's been in Toy Story movies before.
I got to tell you, it fascinates me. It really, really does, because the technology that you guys are doing is amazing. But I got to ask, now that you've done it, and you want to perfect it. What's going to be next? What are you going to do with this technology next?
I can go first, and Allie, I'd love you to supplement this. But one of the most beautiful things here, Freddie, is that once you are in a digitally recreated environment, you all of a sudden can have a viewpoint anywhere in that digital universe. So now we can actually look inside a helmet, we can look inside a NHL goalie viewpoint, and we can act like we're the ball. We can have a camera as if we were inside the ball. So I think that's a huge direction that we're considering: is what other viewpoints can we bring to life that fans have never seen for within perspectives of a game before. And then I think it's also, we are very lucky to be a part of the Walt Disney Company, where we are the worldwide leader in intellectual property, and we want to figure out other ways we can bring that IP to life and bring that to life through sports.
Did both of you, we have a lot of college interns and now they're in grad school that run our studio and our production house. When you all went through your internships, and Allie, you were huge in lacrosse, I mean, huge. Did you ever think you would be in a project like this, in animation and Disney and ESPN, when you were both in school?
No, definitely not. I mean, coming out of college, I always knew I wanted to work in the sports industry, so getting a job at ESPN was obviously a dream come true, but definitely never saw myself, being able to do such cool and groundbreaking new things, and just being able to work with all the amazing tech vendors who make it all possible, and then also just the creative teams across ESPN. It's been amazing.
I think they should put you as one of the next commentators when you do like a lacrosse game.
Yeah, hopefully we could see if this tech can scale across. That could be our next project.
Because you went right from lacrosse into doing this. So kids that are in school and pursuing their love of sports, and maybe they don't go to the next level, you recommend going into this type of field? Because I've got animators that would love right now to jump into the TV and like be taken away into your metaverse.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I am on the business side, so all credit to our creative studio team who's actually doing the animation, but even just being able to work with them day to day and brainstorm creative ideas has been amazing. And just being so close to a project like this, no matter what team you're on, it's great.
It's interesting because the business side of this thing is still a business. You still have to do something with the technology. The technology gets better and it's amazing. I remember when I went to Orlando and I came back and I was all hyped up because I wanted to do something animation with us in studio. And everybody told me it couldn't be done. And I'm sitting there watching this game. And I says, it can't be done. I still remember. Was it about a year and a half ago?
Well, think about what kind of budget you must have. Well, this was all a partnership with the ESPN, NFL, Disney, Pixar. Was this a whole collaborative partnership?
Oh, collaborative in every spirit of the word. Every movement that we made on production, every discussion we had of how the game would be shot was done with NFL in mind and Pixar in mind, and we had just endless calls where we talked about the creative direction we wanted to go, and they were everybody was fully on board with creating something innovative, special that families would really enjoy.
Well, did your kids enjoy it?
I was in the control room at the time, so by the time I got it for the first half, by the time I got home, only my parents were watching. So I'm actually not, I can't confirm or deny how they liked it, but I think my wife said that they were proud of me. So whatever that means.
So let me ask about the control room, because we were talking about it here the next day. You had a separate control room because you had separate commentators and announcers that did the Pixar version versus the regular game. Where were they? They were somewhere in real time on a green screen?
Yeah, they were actually one floor above where the control room was. So the control room had about 20 folks that are working on the graphics package and directing and bringing in the music. And then upstairs, there was a green screen, and our announcers were wearing motion capture suits. So they were actually wearing suits that had sensors all across their body, and they were just up in Bristol. So even though the game was over in London, you're seeing Booger right there. He was right above us, one floor up in Bristol, Studio 2.
That's incredible.
I got to tell you, they picked the right team to head this thing. You know, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, invested time, money, and energy. The companies invested time, money, and energy. You guys must be spectacular in the business, and the product shows it. Amazing. I mean, I am floored that you pulled it off. You did it live. They picked the game overseas. The numbers on NFL football have been up this year tremendously. So everybody has seen this thing one way or the other. I mean, Missy over here doesn't even know football. All of a sudden, she's talking about the markers and the placing of the ball, and she knows the players on the field. All of that came to become aware because you took the game to a different viewpoint.
I mean, think they even had the building blocks, right? The alphabet blocks as the goal line, as the goalpost. It's just brilliant. Your creative team.
Yeah.
The technology was spectacular, but the creative team on top of it, how you put all of these pieces together and 4 companies working together and synergy to bring this to fruition after 2 years, it was just remarkable.
The attention to detail was something I feel like is unmatched at the Walt Disney Company, and I'm glad fans like you guys were able to see it. I'm just hoping, Freddie, you mentioned the business side. I'm hoping we turned you into an ESPN Plus subscriber from this whole exhibition.
Agreed. I got to tell you, in this house, in this studio, we're a think tank of creatives. And we have pushed the envelope to have all of these kids come in here because we don't look at them as interns. We look at them as producers. And that's what they are. And that young lady that put this thing together, she knows no boundaries. You tell her, go do it, and she doesn't realize anything. Wheelchair or not, she's going to go get it done. So it's a tribute. It's like you're the flag of everything we stand for in creativeness. It is unbelievable what you guys did. I'm floored by it. I'm so proud to have met you.
Oh my gosh, what an honor.
And to show this thing, it's our honor for something you've chased and accomplished. You know, you gotta sort of tip your hat and take a bow because what you guys did was outstanding.
We really appreciate it. We'll spread that sentiment across the around 100 people that were associated with this, and we're proud to be able the ones to talk about it. And I'm excited for you guys to get to see more in the future.
We would love to. What's coming up next? What's in the think tank? What's the next type of, I know you can't tell us that, but next sport, next event, gymnastics, I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I was clear to mention exactly what's next. I can tell you it's exciting and it continues to push the envelope, and there will be more. I mean, one of the beauties is there's code across a lot of our major leagues, and the vendors we work with have tested with other sports. So we'll take your suggestion about Allie doing a lacrosse game back, and we'll add that to the mix. But we're continuing to think of other ones that we're going to iterate on.
Allie, what's your advice for interns looking to get into the field?
I would say just definitely stay right into the sports media industry. I would also just say definitely don't think you're underqualified for anything. Shoot your shot. If I had known that I would be doing projects like this, I probably maybe would have been a little bit scared away from applying to a job like this, being afraid that maybe I don't have a tech background or, et cetera. But once you're in the position, there's just so much room for growth, and you have such great mentors above you. Like I'm lucky to have Zach taking me along for all of this. So definitely just chase. Don't ever sell yourself short, I would say.
Chase your dreams. Zach and Allie, thank you so much for joining us. What a pleasure.
Thank you guys so much. Best wishes.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Have a happy holiday season.
Thank you.
Thank you again.